My name's Emma Williams. I'm part of the social engagement team at Rashwood Care Home in Droitwich. We were very excited when Jenny contacted us about having Suitcase Stories at Rashwood. It sounded intriguing. The first week we had about 10 residents. We all sat round a table and Sue was there with her suitcase and Heather with her accordion. We didn't quite know what to expect, but by the end of it I could tell everybody had had a great time. And after the week after, we had conversations going on at the bar. People sat around the dining room table saying, "Were you at the Suitcase Stories? Oh, it's fantastic. You must come along next week." So the following weeks, we had a lot more residents wanting to join in, which was fantastic. And we ended up with a table full and a back row too. And some people just wanted to sit quietly and watch what was going on. And other people want to be really involved and have a good look at the objects and reminisce and tell their stories, which was fantastic. The other thing that I really noticed in our home was the air of anticipation about what was going to be in the next suitcase. It was almost childlike amongst the residents, like a Christmassy feel, and Sue became Mrs. Christmas, what's she bringing in the next suitcase, which was lovely to see too. So when the suitcase came out on the table and Sue started taking things out, there was this chorus of, "Oh, I remember that," or "I had one of those." And some people who couldn't quite remember it to start with, once people started sharing their stories and remembering about it, it would start their memories going as well, and it sort of cascaded around the table, which was lovely. And they loved nothing more than educating me about some of the objects that I didn't know what they were. Also, there was a lovely sense of community around the table. It felt like they had some sort of bond together by the end of the project. That they'd realised that although they don't know each other very well, they've got all that in common, and they still share their stories about some of these things at Rashwood now. Some of the effects we had on the residents was just amazing, to stand back a bit and watch how they got on. Some of our really quiet residents started to join in. Being able to touch the items and to feel the weight of them really helped jog people's memories about things, and it's just a delight to be able to handle them as well. We also had one occasion where we had the special occasion suitcase, which had a wedding veil in it, and one of our ladies just loved this veil. She put it on her head, and she was pretending to be the bride again, and she remembered her wedding day. And through the whole day, she was telling stories about her husband and their memories together. I remember we was all singing, "I'll get married in the morning," and there was lots of laughter, and it was a lovely memory for her. And the suitcase story we had about the school days, one of our gentlemen, his family had been making hats for years, and the beret that was in the suitcase that one of our other residents modelled for him, and he very proudly told about the family history, about the business that they'd had, and he got a lot from that. So lots and lots of many wonderful moments that were made, including one resident who really struggled verbally to communicate, and was watching what was going on, and then some magazines came out about the 60s and 70s, and there were lots of famous people in them, and we looked through it together, and he was pointing at ones, and I didn't know some of them, so we put it out to the rest of the table, and when the other residents could tell who it was, his face lit up, like finally somebody was, could communicate with me about these things. there were just so many wonderful moments that we had, wonderful moments, wonderful memories that were made. And we're so grateful to the Suitcase Stories for coming to Rashwood and the bodies who helped fund it. Our residents would have Suitcase Stories every week if we could. They loved it so much, and we still talk about it now and all the fun we had. Because we'd had Heather with us for a project before where she did poetry, and she'd made up this wonderful, really funny poem, or she turned it into a song about her support stockings. And it was amazing how, although her sort of dementia had progressed, how when Heather started singing that song to her, it all came flooding back. And she was so happy that she'd sung it again. I think I found that they were a bit nervous to start with about the singing. Although I think it's a lovely way because we started on a song, didn't we? And I think that's a lovely way to sort of break the ices to get everybody singing. But I think they were all a bit apprehensive about it. But I think once they'd, had a few of the objects out and things, and they'd relaxed into it, then I think the singing afterwards, and actually the singing was a great way, because at some point you get a suitcase and we've got so many things out, the noise levels got quite high, didn't they? And it was a great way of sort of just pausing and bringing it all back down again, and sort of resetting almost, starting again.